Hey, and welcome back to my channel. It's Ashley here, and today we are going to be doing two in-table makeovers. I'm so glad that I got a pair this time. So let's go ahead and get started. Alright, so these are the two end tables that I'm going to be transforming. It is always amazing when you have friends that literally give you free furniture because you will always have a project. So I loved these cute end tables. I'm so glad that I got a pair of them. So now I'm going to transform them. Alright, so the next thing I did was I started to clean up everything. So I'm removing cobwebs and spiders because they were there. There was no granddaddy long legs this time, but there were spiders. So then I'm just removing everything so that I can start to clean this up to get it prepped for painting. And I also learned something new because I was removing this bamboo because I just wanted this to be like not like an Asian feel, which I did not know that it was also called chinoiserie is the style. And I was like, oh wow, you learn something new every day. Someone told me that in the comments when I made a reel. So I was like, oh, okay. So I learned something new. So anyways, I removed that. And then after I removed that, I found this freaking roach inside. I was super freaked out. If you ever see roach droppings, just know that this could be a thing. So yeah, I already knew that, but this was the first time that has ever happened to me, y'all. I've never like literally had a live roach in a piece of furniture that I was redoing. But anyways, as you can see, I was using the Dixie Belle Lightning to start to just clean everything off to get this ready because I just like to start with a clean slate. So then after that nice cleaning, I am just going to start to do some repair work. So where I removed the bamboo pieces, I am just going to putty up those nail holes. And I, of course, am using DAP to do that. Next, I removed all of the hardware, and then I started to work on this one particular drawer that was missing a chunk of its piece in the front. So to do that, I'm going to use Bondo. I like to use the body fill, but you can use whichever one you want. But Bondo is always the best thing when you are trying to fill in like a chunk that's missing from a piece of furniture. So I'm mixing everything together. The more you put, the faster it is going to harden, and the less you put, it's gonna take a little bit more time. So anyways, I'm just filling in this hole. I'm just piling up on this area that needs to be filled in, and then I'm kind of like smoothing it out, and then I'm gonna let it dry. So some of the other areas, so the front of this was basically pretty much particle board, so I'm just sanding down to kind of smooth it out, and then I added some more of the Bondo there, and then I'm going to of course sand that down. So right now I'm sanding down that one area, just shaping it up so that it'll look nice and clean once it's time for me to paint. Next, I started working on the legs. So I was debating on if I wanted the front of the legs and the back of the legs to be raw wood. So when I did end up doing the back of the legs, they were like a greenish tone, so that wasn't working. So I was like, you know, yeah, I'm just gonna have to do the front. So I am just cleaning this up using my Surf Prep, and I am sanding everything down for this front portion. Then I came back in with some stripper, and I'm just getting into those hard to reach groove areas, and I let that sit. And then now I'm taking my wire brush and I am just brushing away any of the excess paint. After that, I am just giving this a light sanding. So I'm using my 220 and I am just sanding this whole piece. So I did both of them this exact same way. So this one particular dresser had like these water bubble areas, and I was like, oh no, I have to like sand those. So I sanded those down all the way until they were gone. And you know, this is what it looked like. It looked horrendous, but I knew when I put the paint on it, it's gonna mask it and it's gonna look so good after. I then started to sand the drawer fronts to get those ready as well. And then I'm gonna be using the Fusion TSP, coming back in with that, and I am going to clean everything, making sure I get any residue from sawdust or anything like that off of my piece, so that my two end tables will be ready for me to paint them. After I did that, I started to use the painter's tape, and I am putting that on my legs because, like I said, that bottom half is going to be stained and the top part is going to be painted. And then I began to paint. So the color that I'm using is Muscadine Wine by Dixie Belle, which is a very beautiful color. I was super shocked when it dried, like how much I loved this color, because when I was putting it on, I was like, oh my God, no. But then after a couple of coats, so I did 2 coats, and when I did this, you do not have to use a paint sprayer. You can use a paint sprayer, but you most definitely can use your brushes. I love to use zebra brushes, so your brushes, and then you can roll those over with just your roller, and it will smooth it out and it'll look like you spray painted it, to be honest. I'm just saying. Then of course I use my smaller brushes to get into the smaller areas where I had things taped off, and of course where I do not want paint to go, to get into those detailed areas. And I then just came back again with my roll brush and rolled that right on. So this is what it looked like after 1 coat, which it just still looks terrible, but I knew once I did another coat it would have been fine, of course. So here I am coming in with that 2nd coat. I also did do a 3rd coat, but honestly 2 coats of this would have been perfectly fine. But yes, I'm coming back in with my brush and my roller brush, and I am putting this paint right on these. After everything was nice and dry, I started to remove all of the painter's tape. The next thing I did was I started to work on the drawer sides. So for these drawer sides, I am going to be adding some decoupage paper. Absolutely love this paper, and it looks amazing with the Muscadine Wine color from Dixie Belle. So I'm just going to use a paintbrush, scissors, and some Mod Podge to add this onto the sides. So I had 2 sheets of this, and it was really good because it wasn't like a larger dresser where I would need more. So it was just 2 to do 4 drawers. So I am spraying the water on, adding the Mod Podge, then adding the paper on top, and then smoothing it all out with some more Mod Podge, adding a little bit of water just so I don't get any wrinkles. And then for the sides, I made sure that I had enough on the sides so that I can go over the sides. So when it dries, it'll be easy for me to sand that off. So like I said, once everything is nice and dry, you just take a 220 grit and you just sand off the excess decoupage paper that you do not need, and it'll come right off. And then I came in with my 400 grit and I started to smooth everything out. So the tops and the drawer fronts and the sides, but mainly the top and the drawer fronts. Then I came in with my Dixie Belle, the spray wax, and then I'm just sealing this up, which I didn't have any more of the gator hide, which I'm going to come back with that gator hide and put it on the top. But if you don't have your gator hide, you can definitely use the Dixie Belle Easy Peasy Wax because it works just as well. But for the top, I am, again, going to come back in with that gator hide. So next, I started to work on the hardware, which is very tarnished and it needs to be cleaned. So I like to use Barkeeper Friends. And again, this goes with prep work as well. So you need to clean your piece thoroughly before you start to add everything, because if you don't, your paint might not stick. Things can happen. So always clean the hardware. So that's what I'm doing. I'm cleaning my hardware, and as you can see, it is nice and goldish again. But to have a cohesive look, I am going to be using my liquid gold leaf that you can get from Hobby Lobby. It's my favorite thing to use. And I am just going to be painting that on, and I'm going to let it dry, and then you can seal it if you want. But I've never had any problems with just like having it like this to put it on the furniture because it's so good. I love it. After all the hardware dried, the next thing I did, of course, was I just added these back on to the drawer fronts. Okay, so next I started working on the legs. So first, I never really used pre-stain, but I used it today. And I put pre-stain on there first, and then I put the dark walnut. So first I was gonna use briar smoke, but it was a little too brown, so I ended up doing dark walnut because it was darker and a richer color. Also, I did kind of mess up on one of the legs, so if you want to know how you can kind of fix those mistakes, why don't you head over to my Patreon, which you can join for free. Anyways, so yeah, so I show how I fixed that little incident that happened over there. After that, I came in with some Wise Owl Furniture Style Citrine Mint, my absolute favorite. It smells so good. It polishes your drawers and it makes everything just, ooh, perfection. All right, so this is what the end tables look like now. I absolutely love these. They are gonna be going in our guest room. Besides my sucky lighting, y'all, I have to find somewhere in my house where I can get better lighting because this is not it. But anyways, love how these turn out. The paper matched the color to a T. I love this color. I was super shocked. I didn't think I was gonna really like it, but it looks so good when it's dried, as you can see with the 2 coats. And also the dark walnut stain, bam, bam, bam. It's just really bold and rich. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you did, as always, make sure you give it a big thumbs up and make sure you comment down below to let me know what you think. And I will see y'all in my next one. Bye.